Adolfo, Araneta, Ariola, Montaño, Cachuela, Tesena, Oquendo, Bataluna, Caniban, Ali Calim, Brizuela, De la Cruz, Kadagdagon, Betia, Cabilio, Kalimbol, Edsa, Dalmasio, Duhay, Cablitas, Mangudadatu, Hasan, Ante Mangudadatu, Gatchaylan, Legarte, Lupogan, Maravilla, Núñez, Merisco, Evardo, Morales, Tiamson, Salaysay, Razon, Reblando, Bernan, Perante, Palawan, Parcon, Demilio, Sabdula, Balayman, Subang, Lechoncito, De los Reyes, Daud, Ayada, Sapalon Abdul, Teodoro, Palabrega, Ridao, Momay.
Today on Rappler, for the first time, the ARMM government holds a ceremony to remember the 58 people killed in the Mindanao Massacre. President Aquino tells Philippine media to improve their standards and address corruption in their ranks. The Philippines may overshoot the government's growth target of 5% to 6% for 2012. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. For the first time, the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao officially commemorates the Maguindanao Massacre. On Friday, ARMM OIC Governor Mujib Hataman organizes a ceremony to remember the 58 people killed 3 years ago in Ampatuan Town, Maguindanao. Employees of the ARMM government and Cotabato City media wear black and hold a moment of silence to remember the dead. Hataman says the event is meant to raise awareness of human rights violations. He adds, better late than never, it is the obligation of those from ARMM to reflect on this. No one has been convicted for what the Committee to Protect Journalists calls the single deadliest event for journalists in history. Government lawyers have yet to decide if they will challenge a Supreme Court ruling banning the live coverage of the Maguindanao Massacre trial. Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says prosecutors are divided whether to ask the court to reconsider its earlier ruling. On October 23, the Supreme Court grants the motion of former Maguindanao Governor Andal Ampatuan Sr., one of the principal suspects in the case. Ampatuan sought a reversal of an earlier court decision allowing live coverage of the trial. He says live coverage violates his right to presumption of innocence and equal protection of the law. De Lima says she and President Benigno Aquino want the trial to be aired live. De Lima says, quote, with the people watching the trial, the players will be more careful. President Benigno Aquino calls on journalists to improve their standards and clean up the industry. Aquino faces media executives during the Media Nation 9 Summit Friday, the third anniversary of the Maguindanao Massacre. The president says the media needs to establish consistent standards and address corruption in their ranks. He adds, the lack of standards makes it easier for corruption to take place. The president did not discuss the issue of the Freedom of Information Act in his speech. Despite an earlier promise, Aquino did not push for the approval of the act, which mandates government agencies to make documents accessible to the public. Rappler's editor-at-large, Marites Vitug, is attending Media Nation 9, talks about corruption in the media. Here's her video blog.
In the past, it was taboo to talk about corruption in our ranks. It was a well-kept secret because we in the media were supposed to be untouchable. Thankfully, this has changed. Recently, 4 columnists who wrote identical columns opposing the sin tax were exposed. They appeared to be copying from a common source, quotes and all. When a member of this quartet was asked why this happened, one of them said they play golf regularly and share materials. But a former PR staff of a company told me that he used to write column feeds. These are given to columnists who accept payments. In return, they support policies that will benefit the company using material prepared by the PR staff. These feeds are also used to demolish enemies of the corporation. For example, those who advocate laws inimical to its interests. Corruption is a never-ending problem in the media. These take many forms, including accepting bribes, doing PR work, and soliciting favors. Steps have been taken to stop this toxic disease. Corrupt journalists have been fired, codes of conduct have been strictly implemented. But not all media organizations are cleaning up. To fight corruption, we should be accountable, just as we demand accountability from the people we cover. This is long overdue.
Philippine economic growth this year may overshoot the government's target of 5% to 6% on strong domestic consumption and recovery of exports. Local think tank Institute for Idea and Econometric Analysis, or IDEA, says strong domestic consumption and some recovery in the export sector will lead to a gross domestic product growth of 5.4% to 6.5% in 2012. With the high growth expectation, IDEA says Philippine growth may slow down in 2013 and 2014. It projects a growth of between 4.7% and 6% for next year and 4.6% to 5.9% to 2014. Faced with attendance problems in the House of Representatives, the principal author of the Reproductive Health Bill appeals to lawmakers supporting the controversial measure to show up in the remaining 12 days of session. In the last 3 weeks since Congress resumed session, House members were able to muster a quorum only once. Albay Representative Edsa Lagman sends a letter of appeal to, quote, over 100 co-authors and another group of several dozens of confirmed advocates and supporters, claiming together they constitute a clear majority. In the 283-member House, Lagman describes the RH law as, quote, an anchor for the government's pro-poor, pro-women, pro-health, and pro-development agenda. It has been 3 months since the House of Representatives ended debates on the measure. The Commission on Elections accredits the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, as its citizens' arm for the 2013 elections. The poll body cites PPCRV's, quote, track record as one of the Commission's staunch allies in ensuring clean, orderly, peaceful, and honest elections. It also says the Catholic group has an established membership and structure nationwide. COMELEC says PPCRV will serve as poll watchdogs in various precincts, assist voters on Election Day, and assist the COMELEC in information and education drives. PPCRV was also COMELEC's citizen arm in the 2010 elections. The Philippine government gets access to Filipino-born U.S. permanent resident Ralph Kenneth De Leon, who is detained in California for his alleged involvement in a foiled terror plot. De Leon and 3 others are charged with conspiring to provide material support to terrorists who plan to attack targets in the Philippines, Afghanistan, and Palestine. Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Jose Quisha Jr., says the embassy is gathering more information on the alleged terror plot and ensuring De Leon's rights are protected. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Tagle will become a cardinal of the Catholic Church on Saturday, November 24th, along with 5 other non-European prelates. Pope Benedict XVI will appoint them as cardinals in an unexpected second consistory within the year. It's a move welcomed by critics concerned the body which will elect the future pope is too Eurocentric. Observers consider Tagle a potential papal contender. In less than a year as head of one of Asia's most influential archdioceses, Tagle has had a prominent voice in the global Catholic Church. Pope Benedict XVI, writing under his own name, Joseph Ratzinger, publishes the 3rd and last volume of his biography of Jesus Christ. Jesus of Nazareth, The Infancy Narratives, goes on sale in 50 countries Wednesday and will be published in 9 languages. It clears up some persistent Christian myths. Ratzinger's work on the book began in 2003 when he was still head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. The book says Jesus Christ was actually born several years earlier than stipulated in the Christian calendar because the monk who drew it up got his math wrong. There were also no donkeys nor oxen present in the stable where Christ was born. Quote, the gospel makes no mention of animals, Ratzinger writes, but reassures the animals are now part of Christian iconography. Benedict also intervenes in the debate over whether Jesus was born, rejecting arguments by some scholars that Jesus was born in Nazareth rather than Bethlehem. It was where Jesus was born. Benedict said he would not hesitate to become the first head of the Roman Catholic Church to resign willingly in more than 700 years if necessary. Critics accused him of dedicating more time to his books than to his papal tasks. The book is signed Joseph Ratzinger Benedict XVI, meaning it is an academic work rather than papal dogma.